Sometimes when you're budgeting, you've done certain things a certain way your whole life, you feel like they enrich your life, but something crops up that is just going to cost a lot and you have to really make tough decisions about what you're going to be doing with your life going forward. And in today, we're going to be broaching a subject just like that. Hi guys, girls, non-binary pals, welcome to Budget with Ira. My name is Ira and on this channel we talk about budgeting, paying down debt and saving up for the life that you truly deserve. If that sounds like something you'd like to watch, please consider subscribing to the channel because we do have a lot of fun over here, Bestie. We really do. In today's video, we're going to be doing another installment of my series Budget Bestie. Budget Bestie is a series where people anonymously submit their budget to me. I take a look at it and see what I might do if I was in their situation. This is not financial advice. However, some people might find some nuggets of wisdom in the things that I say, but the real wisdom comes from what people put in the comments. So make sure that you comment on this video after you've watched it, see what you might have done. Anyway, in today's video, we've got a bit of an interesting one. So should we go ahead and take a look at it? Okay, so this one is a bit of an interesting one. I quite like it. It's a definitely different scenario, something that I've never dealt with. When I ask them what is their main financial goal, they want to be debt free and they do have a debt, so we will be looking at a debt plan for that, but they also want to save for IVF, and I had no idea how expensive that is. So when I ask them what is your main financial issue, they say loans and back debt from phone. Sister didn't pay in my name. I also start to save and then things come up like birthdays, Mother's Day. With husband's parents, we travel to see them and it's a long drive. I also think it's my ability that I have to stuff as much as everybody else and that I see on videos, and then I leave myself with no money when things come up because I've tried to overstuff as an envelope. And I think there's that sort of situation. Sometimes we look at other people's videos, we compare ourselves to them and we try to insert ourselves into those situations, but everybody's different. Everybody's got a different situation going on. We can't be comparing ourselves to other people. So there's quite a lot of stuff. So really what they want to be saving for at the moment is IVF and a vacation, but they have got, considerable debt. So we need to look at a plan. And what I want to do today, let me talk. Whenever I do a debt plan on this Budget Bestie series, I think about how you're going to pay the debt down as quickly as possible. But what I want to show in today's video is how you can become debt free just by using 5% of your income. And 5% for some people is a lot of money. Like for me, it's a lot of money, but for some people, they do have that 5% to spare. So rather than chucking thousands at it every single week to get as quickly paid off debt as possible, sometimes just chucking 5% can really work. We're going to be using this, and this is going to be helpful because these are really good if you are making mistakes on your budget, want to tear it off and start all over again. Really good for people beginner budgets. But anyway, we need to get going. So Bestie, let's go ahead and let's get budgeting. Hi Besties, so here we are with this Paycheck Build tracker. This is really small one, and it's really good because I don't think we're actually going to need this much space. But today we're doing someone from New Zealand, and there's some assumptions that I'm going to have to make because I think there was stuff missed out. So if you do end up submitting a Budget Bestie application, please make sure you give me as much information as possible because sometimes I need to sort of guess things. But yeah, we're going through, this is all dollars, but I know I'm going to say pounds plenty of times. So let's go ahead, let's start with income, Bestie. So first of all, they have their husband's income here, and their income is 3,400, and this is dollars, so don't get jealous, everybody. Like, it looks like a lot until you realize it's dollars and it's normal. And then they have their own income, which is 1,600. Okay, so that actually comes up to 5,000, which makes the budget quite easy. So let's talk about bills. So first of all, there is rent, which seems super cheap. It's $400. And then they have internet, which to me seems wild. Like, I don't understand this economy. It's 90. It's almost a quarter of rent. I don't get it. And then they have a phone thing, so both of their phones, and that's 160. So every time I talk about like how a British person, how if their phone bill is over £30, how I think that's ridiculous, a lot of like Australian and American people are like, what are you playing at? Like, and I understand now, this seems like a lot. And then they do gas and electric, which is 105. So they do, I think they said 85 and 30 or something like that. And then they have car insurance, car insurance, which is 133, and then they have subscriptions. So subscriptions, if I listed them, it would cover this whole sheet. So subscriptions, that don't look right. It's not right, but whatever. This is $80. So it's a lot of different things. And I'm not going to list all of them. I'm just going to lump it all in one and just be like, that's a lot of money, bestie. And then what I have also done is I've included some assumed ones. So I'm going to put them in brackets here because they're just assumed. So there's two. They didn't put down water. And I Googled it, and the most their water would be in New Zealand, depending on where they live, would be $429 a year. So I'm putting down 35 there. And also they didn't put car registration down. And then on average, a 12-month rego would be $102. So I'm going to put 9, and if that's wrong, I'm sorry, but I think we're talking about like quite small amounts of money anyway, so I don't think it's the end of the world. But anyway, all of that does come up to 1,012, which leaves them with $3,988. Looking good so far, but we haven't got to the debt yet, bestie. Envelopes, we've got spending for them, which is 60. So they like to do $30 every 2 weeks, so that's 60. And then we got his spending, which is also $60. So just think, they're earning that much and then they're treating themselves with that much. Like, that's where their budget is taking them. Do you know what I mean? And then they have petrol, which is $240 a month, and then they spend $500 on food. And from what I'm understanding about Australia and New Zealand food prices, that is quite an achievement. So well done to you. So that is $860, which comes up to $3,128 left over. Now let's talk about sinking funds. So they've spoke about what they would like to have as their sinking funds and things that they currently do have. So what I'm going to do is talk to you about this one. So first of all, they have travel, which is they travel to their husband's parents every for 5 to 6 weeks, so we might as well say every month. They do probably about £300 on travel, so that's petrol, let alone the wear and tear on the car and stuff like that, but they also pay for toll roads as well and toll bridges and things like that. So let's say $340, right? So I'm assuming, I mean, I don't know what I'm assuming, so I don't know, right? But we will talk about that when we get to that. Then we have car maintenance. They currently have 0, I think, or they haven't told me, but yeah. And then adventure as well, which for me is very airy-fairy, but I really can't spell. But it seems to mean something to them. And then they're talking about dog emergency. So they say they always do $60 every 2 weeks. So we know that one. So that's $120. And then they haven't saved anything for Christmas yet, and they say that's important. So it seems like family is really, really important to this person. Birthdays always surprise them. And like stuff like that, and they have nothing. And then occasions like Mother's Day, Father's Day, stuff like that. So they're all there. So that comes up to 460, which leaves them with 2,668. Yeah. So let's talk about debt. So first of all, we've got debt number. Okay, but I'm just going to have to put debt just in general, right? So they've got loan number 1, the minimum is £100. Loan number 2, the minimum is £100. Loan number 3, the minimum is £100. Loan number 4, the minimum is £500. Loan number 5, the minimum is £265. And loan number 6, the minimum is £150, which comes up to $1,215 every single month, just on minimums. Obviously, we're going to plan in an overpayment. Obviously, we're going to figure that out. So at the moment it's 1,215 just on debt. So it's over a 20% of their income goes straight to debt, and they're not even paying down interest. So that leaves them with 1,453. So at the moment, I don't know where that money is going. So it looks like birthdays are catching them by surprise, travel, occasions, everything's just coming around the corner, and it's just like catching them by surprise all the time, okay? So even when we look at savings, they talk about they really want an emergency fund. They don't say if they have anything in there or anything like that. So I don't even know what the situation is there. So besties, I think it's time for me to bust out the red pen. So they were saying that they can earn more if they do overtime, which they do relatively regularly, but I'm just going to keep that at 5,000. So they were talking about how IVF is really, really important to them. So having their own family together is really super important to them. So for me, I've made a couple of assumptions, right? So trying to put myself into your headspace, it sounds like family is super, super important to you, but having a baby is the most important thing, right? Based off of that, I've made cutthroat decisions, yeah? And you might not want to make these decisions. You might not want to do these because they might not suit you and your life. But these are decisions that I've made based off if I really wanted a baby and I needed to do that through IVF, this is what I would do, because IVF, bestie, is expensive. So starting off, I haven't really done much of the bills. However, I have slashed this of subscriptions and taken it down to 20. That's the only thing I feel like I can reasonably do in here, because I feel like all of your bills, based off of no information whatsoever, they all seem super reasonable. Now there may be more that I don't know of because I've only thought of water and rego, but yeah, it is what it is. So that does come up to 952, which leaves you with 4,048, right? So your envelopes, I'm not going to touch either. I think that's really, if you can make spending and your petrol and your food work, that's fine. Also, you need to, if you're going through IVF, you really need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So let's keep it as it is at $860, which leaves for a 3,188. So remember, you're $60 up already, yeah? Okay, so let's talk about your sinking funds and what I would do. So if I were you, I would be thinking that I need to really make a serious decision about, is seeing my husband's parents once a month really, really important, or can I see them once every 3 months or something like that? So rather than every 6 weeks, can I see them every 4 months? So based off of that, I would slash that down to 80 so that I can see them less often, and that money can go towards IVF. And I'm sure they would understand that. Now, I don't know what the dynamic is. I don't know if they're elderly or whether they need help or anything like that. So I don't know, but that is my cutthroat decision based off of what I would need if I was in that situation. Car maintenance, I would do $100 a month, and I'd also do $100 to adventure, whatever that means to you. Dog emergency, I'd just do it to $150 just to make it a bit more even and rounded. And Christmas, I'd do $100 because that's $1,200 at the end of the year, which I think is quite a good number. Now, birthdays, I'd do 30, limit myself to birthdays of 30. That is your birthday, his birthday, anybody else's birthday. But I'd also do $20 for occasions, so like Mother's Day and Father's Day, because they don't come round as often. So what that actually comes up to is $580. Now that is more than what you were already doing, but it is a bit more planned out and a bit more careful, yeah? So that is now 2,608. So basically the same at this point. Anyway, so debt, we're still going to do the minimums, which is 1,215, but we're going to do a overpayment of 285. Now that is roughly 5% of your income. It's really small fry compared to what it is, but we're going to talk about what that actually means when we go through the debt plan, and we're going to do that next. But first, let me tell you that that is going to come up to 1,500, and the leftover is going to be 1,108. Okay, so emergency fund, we need to do £100, I think. Do that just to get your first 1k, and then you've got a bit of something in the tank just in case you needed to make an emergency trip to your parents or whatever. But then I would start getting super serious about this IVF. Now, having done a bit of research, New Zealand prices are very different to UK prices. So for one cycle, for both a male and a female to go through IVF, or for two females going through IVF, not having a surrogate, that costs between 11,500 to 17,000. So if we do it on the lower end and assume it's going to cost 12,000, you could probably afford, while you are still in debt, a full cycle once a year. So if we are saving $1,000 a month, then you'll be able to have a cycle once a month. And then once you get through this debt, you'll be able to do it a lot more regularly, probably 2. But hopefully we only need 1 cycle, right? So what that comes up to is 1,100. And that leaves you with $8. Yeah, so that's what I would do as a budget, but we'll come and talk about that in a sec. But let's go have a look at this debt repayment plan. So first of all, we've got loan number 5. So the minimum amount each month, no, the total owed, so the total owed is $690, yeah? So the minimum to pay on that is $265, okay? Then we've got loan number 2, and the minimum, no, the total owed is $1,600 and the minimum is $100. Then we have loan number 6. It's weird how it works out, but yeah, stay with me. 1,650 and the minimum is 150. And then we have loan 3. And that is 2,900 and the minimum is $100. Then we have loan number 1. And that is 3,100 and the minimum is $100. And then we have loan number 4, and that is $40,000 and the minimum is $500. So we've already figured out that the overpayment that we're going to do is $285. So it's not a massive chunk, so we can still do IVF because that's probably more important than debt at this point, right? So what that comes up to is $550. So if you're paying $550 to this $690, you'll have it done in just about a month. It's a little bit over a month, but we're putting it down as a month because some of these are under, yeah? Just for the sake of making it clean, it's 1 month, yeah? So then your debt snowball is 550. So when you add 550 to that, your debt snowball then becomes 650. So when you're paying 650 to this, you'll have that paid off in under 3 months, yeah? Which is wonderful. Now, 3 months from now, you would have paid off $450 of this. So you'd actually be at 1,200, yeah? So when you add the 650 to your 150, that means that your snowball is 800, okay? So 800 divided by 1,200, you'll have that done in 2 months. So we're making really fast progress and really light work of these first ones. So you are now 6 months in, and once you've paid off £100 6 times, you'll have 2,300 left over based off of no interest, right? So your 800 plus your 100 means that your snowball is now $900. So 3 months later, that debt is gone. So by the time you get here, your debt will be 2,200. So your $100 plus your $900 snowball means that you now have a 1K snowball. So that means 3 months later, this debt is gone. So by the time you get around to this 40,000, you're down to 34K because you've paid off about like 6K already with the 500. So your $500 plus your 1K means that your debt snowball is now 1.5K. It's at its full amount. Then it will take 22 months. Yeah. So you're debt free based off of this, based off debt free based off of no interest as well. So there might need to be like additional payments like to clear the debt and stuff like that within 34 months, which is about 3 years. Yeah. So if you're in that sort of place, like this is what would work based off of the debt snowball plan, right? So going back to this budget, I think this is something that could work. So I think it's just a bit of a sit down with your husband, talking about what is super, super important to you. If this travel to your parents is
like so important that it has to happen every month, then you know it'll probably just come out of that IVF. So it's figuring out what works for you. Can you, like, if this is super important, can you then take away from this? Can you then take away from that? But in order to make it happen, sometimes you need to get rid of some subscriptions, and I know it feels bad getting rid of those stuff, but the joy of the new addition to your family will probably pay for it like tenfold at least. So yeah, this is what I would do. I'd love to know what you would do down in the comments down below. Please let me know, and I will see you again next week for another one.
Hi guys, gals and non-binary pals, thank you so much for getting through to the end of the video. You know I love it when you get through to the end of the video. Please give this video some love, make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe, and if you are going to comment, please use this emoji. What did you think of today's video? How did you think I did with it? Obviously, I think the real wisdom comes from everything down in the comments. So if you're in a similar situation to this, or you know someone that's in a similar situation to this, please check out the comments, because the pearls of wisdom you get from that is absolutely wonderful. If you want to share your 2 pence, chuck it in the comments down below, bestie. Also, if you'd like me to take a look at your budget, have a look at the link for the form builder. That takes you on to Google Forms, which is completely anonymous. I have no idea who's submitting these. I might be able to take a look at your budget and see what I might do in your situation. Massive thank you for watching this video. It truly means the world to me. But an extra special thank you to the patrons and the channel members who literally are amazing. If you'd like to join them and be literally amazing, please take a look at the link in the description. You will not regret it, bestie. That's all we have for today. Until the next budget bestie, I would like you to have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and have a wonderful budget. Always remember, don't trust Ira. And bestie, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.